Captain Tae-ho Kim sat in his chair on the bridge of the cargo ship Morning Star. He watched the red clouds of the Crimson Nebula roll past his ship like smoke. The nebula was beautiful, but dangerous. Many ships had gone missing here over the years. How much longer until we reach the mining station? Tae-ho asked his navigator. Jin-Woo Lee checked his instruments. About 6 hours, Captain. The nebula is slowing us down. All this cosmic dust makes it hard to see where we are going. Tae-ho nodded. He had been flying cargo ships for 12 years. The Crimson Nebula was always tricky to navigate. The red, gas clouds blocked sensors and made communication difficult. But the pay for delivering supplies to the remote mining colonies was too good to pass up. Sora, how are the engines doing? Tae-ho called to his sister in the engine room. Everything looks good, brother, came Sora's voice through the comm system. The quantum drive is running smooth. No problems here. Sora Park was the best engineer Tae-ho had ever worked with. She was also his younger sister. She could fix anything that broke on a spaceship. Tae-ho trusted her with his life. The Morning Star was not a big ship. It carried food, medicine, and equipment to the mining colonies scattered through this part of space. The work was steady but boring. Most days, nothing interesting happened. Today felt different. Captain, Jin-Woo said, his voice tight with worry. I am getting strange readings on the sensors. Tae-ho moved to look at Jin-Woo's screen. The display showed swirling patterns of red and orange. The nebula looked normal, but something was wrong. What kind of readings? Tae-ho asked. Something big is moving out there. Maybe another ship. But the signal keeps disappearing and coming back. Tae-ho frowned. Pirates? I do not think so. The movement pattern is strange. It circles around us but stays far away. Sora's voice came through the comm again. I am getting weird readings down here too. The quantum drive is acting up. Something is interfering with it. Tae-ho felt a chill run down his spine. In 12 years of flying cargo ships, he had never heard Sora sound. Worried about her engines. Keep monitoring it, Tae-ho told Jin-Woo. Let me know if it gets closer. For the next hour, they flew deeper into the nebula. The red clouds grew thicker around their ship. The strange readings on the sensors continued. Whatever was out there kept following them. Captain, Jin-Woo said suddenly, you need to see this. Tae-ho looked at the main screen. Through the red mist of the nebula, he could see something moving. It was huge and dark. For a moment, it looked almost like an animal prowling through the cosmic dust. What is that thing? Tae-ho whispered. The shape moved with purpose. It did not drift like a piece of space debris. It did not fly in straight lines like a normal ship. It moved like a hunter stalking its prey. Sora, get up here now, Tae-ho ordered. His sister arrived on the bridge in minutes. She was covered in grease from working on the engines. When she saw the screen, her face went pale. That is not a ship, she said quietly. What do you mean? Jin-Woo asked. Look how it moves. Ships fly in straight lines or follow flight patterns. That thing is circling us like a predator. As if it heard her words, the massive shape in the nebula changed direction. It began moving closer to their ship. All stop, Tae-ho ordered. Cut the engines. Sora ran back to the engine room. The ship's engines shut down. The Morning Star drifted silently through the red clouds. Maybe it will lose interest if we stop moving, Tae-ho said. They waited. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of life support systems. On the screen, the dark shape continued to circle them. It was getting closer. Captain, Jin-Woo said in a low voice. I am picking up more sensor readings. There is debris. Out there, lots of it. What kind of debris? Ship parts. Pieces of hull metal. Engine components. Jin-Woo paused. Captain, I think these are the remains of other ships. Tae-ho felt his stomach drop. How many ships? Hard to tell with all this interference, but I count at least 20 different signatures, maybe more. Sora returned to the bridge. The engines are offline. We are running on battery power only. Good. Maybe that thing will think we are just another piece of debris. But the creature in the nebula was not fooled. It moved closer still. Now they could see more details of its shape. It was enormous, easily the size of a small warship, but it did not look like any ship they had ever seen. "Those are not wings," Sora said, staring at the screen. "Those look like legs." The thing in the nebula had 4 massive limbs that moved like the legs of a giant cat. Its body was long and powerful. Most strange of all, its surface seemed to shimmer and change color like crystal catching light. "It looks like a tiger," Jinwoo whispered. "A giant space tiger." The alien creature moved with the grace of a natural predator. It prowled through the cosmic dust, circling their disabled ship. Occasionally, parts of its crystalline fur would catch the light from nearby stars and flash with brilliant colors. "What does it want?" Sora asked. "I think it wants us," Taeho replied. The creature stopped circling. It turned toward their ship and began moving directly at them. Even through the thick nebula clouds, they could see it clearly now. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "Captain, what are your orders?" Jinwoo asked. Taeho stared at the approaching alien tiger. All around them in the nebula were the remains of ships that had tried to escape this creature. Some had been military vessels with heavy weapons. Others had been fast courier ships that should have been able to outrun anything. None of them had survived. "Start the engines," Taeho said quietly. "We run." Sora sprinted back to the engine room. The quantum drive roared to life. The morning star shot forward through the red clouds of the nebula. Behind them, the alien tiger gave chase. The hunt had begun. The morning star raced through the red clouds of the nebula. Captain Taeho Kim gripped his chair as the ship shook from the strain of maximum speed. Behind them, the alien tiger followed like a nightmare made real. "How fast is that thing?" Taeho shouted over the noise of the straining engines. Jinwoo Lee watched his instruments with wide eyes. "It is keeping up with us easily. Captain, we are going full speed and it is not even trying hard." Sora's voice crackled through the comm from the engine room. "Brother, the quantum drive is running too hot. If we keep this up, it will burn out." Taeho cursed under his breath. They could not outrun the creature, and they could not keep running at this speed. He needed a new plan. "There is someone else on this ship," Jinwoo said suddenly. "I forgot about the passenger in cabin 3. Taeho had forgotten too. A scientist had booked passage to the research station on Kepler 7. Her name was Hyejin Choi. She studied alien life forms. "Get her up here now," Taeho ordered. 5 minutes later, Hyejin Choi arrived on the bridge. She was a small woman with quick, intelligent eyes. She took one look at the main screen and gasped. "What is that creature?" she asked. "We were hoping you could tell us," Taeho replied. "You are the expert on alien life." Hyejin studied the image of the giant tiger chasing them through space. Its crystalline fur caught the light from nearby stars and threw rainbows across its massive body. "I have never seen anything like this," she said, "but I can tell you it is not just an animal." "Look at how it moves." The alien tiger had stopped chasing them in a straight line. Instead, it was moving in a complex pattern, circling around them while staying close. It seemed to be herding them toward something. "It is thinking," Hyejin continued. "This creature is intelligent. It has a plan." "What kind of plan?" Sora asked. She had come up from the engine room to see what was happening. "I think it is driving us toward the dense part of the nebula. See how it cuts off our path every time we try to turn away from the center?" Taeho looked at the navigation display. Hyejin was right. Every time Jinwoo tried to steer them toward open space, the creature would appear on that side and force them back toward the nebula's heart. "Why would it want us to go there?" Jinwoo asked. "Probably because escape would be impossible," Hyejin said grimly. "The center of the nebula is too dense. Our sensors would not work. Communication would be cut off. We would be blind and helpless." The alien tiger suddenly changed tactics. Instead of following behind them, it moved alongside their ship. Taeho could see it clearly through the side windows. The creature was even more massive than he had thought. Its body was at least 200 meters long. "Look at its eyes," Sora whispered. The creature's eyes were like giant gems that glowed with their own light. They were fixed on the morning star with obvious intelligence. This was not a mindless beast, it was studying them. It is learning about our ship, Heejin said. Watching how we move, how we react. This creature has been hunting for a long time. Captain, Jinwoo called. Out. I am detecting something else. More debris fields ahead. The screen showed scattered remains of dozens of ships floating in the nebula. Some were recent wrecks. Others looked like they had been there for years. All of them showed the same kind of damage. Massive claw marks torn through metal hulls. How many ships has this thing killed? Sora asked in horror. Too many, Hyejin replied. She was taking readings with a handheld scanner. But something is strange. Most of these ships are not completely destroyed. The engines are damaged, but the life support systems are still intact. What does that mean? Taeho asked. I think this creature does not kill its prey right away. It disables them first, then keeps them alive for some reason. The alien tiger proved her point a moment later. It moved with lightning speed toward the morning star. But instead of attacking with claws or teeth, it did something impossible. Part of its body became transparent like a ghost. It reached through their ship's hull, as if the metal was not there. Alarms screamed throughout the ship. Emergency lights flashed red. In the cargo bay, massive claw marks appeared in the metal walls, but no air leaked out. The creature had somehow damaged the ship without breaking through completely. How did it do that? Jinwoo shouted. Some kind of phase-shifting ability, Hyejin said, her voice full of amazement and fear. It can make parts of its body pass through solid matter. The engines began to slow down. Sora ran back to check the damage. The quantum drive is damaged but still working. We lost about 30% of our power. The alien tiger pulled back and resumed its patient stalking. It had made its point. It could hurt them whenever it wanted, but it was choosing to keep them alive. Why is it playing with us? Taeho asked. Hyejin was studying her scanner readings. I am detecting strange energy patterns. The creature seems to be feeding on something. Feeding on what? Quantum particles. When our engines run under stress, they give off special energy emissions. I think that is what this creature eats. The horrible truth began to sink in. The alien tiger did not hunt ships for sport or territory. It hunted them for food, but not their bodies or their cargo. It fed on the energy their ships produced when the crews were terrified and desperate. It keeps us alive because fear makes the engines work harder, Sora said quietly. We produce more food for it when we are scared. The creature seemed to sense their growing understanding. It moved closer to their ship and made a sound that somehow reached them through the vacuum of space. It was like the purr of a giant cat, but filled with an alien intelligence that made their skin crawl. Captain, Jinwoo said urgently, we are almost at the center of the nebula. Once we get there, we will not be able to call for help. Taeho looked at his crew. They were all afraid, but they were also brave. They had faced pirates and ship failures and the dangers of deep space. But they had never faced anything like this. Ideas? He asked. Our weapons are useless against something that can phase through matter, Jinwoo said. We cannot outrun it, Sora added. And we cannot hide from it, Hyejin finished. It tracks the quantum emissions from our engines. The alien tiger purred again, a sound of satisfaction. It knew it had them trapped. Soon they would be deep in the nebula where no one could find them. Then it could feed on their terror for as long as their ship's power lasted. The hunt was almost over. The morning star drifted deeper into the heart of the Crimson Nebula. The red clouds around them grew so thick that the stars disappeared completely. Captain Taeho Kim felt like they were sailing through blood. Communications are down, Jinwoo, Lee reported. The nebula is blocking all signals. No one can hear us now. The alien tiger had stopped chasing them. It no longer needed to. They were trapped in the dense center of the nebula where escape was impossible. The creature floated nearby, its crystalline fur glowing brighter as it absorbed energy from their damaged engines. Sora, what is the status on repairs? Taeho asked. His sister crawled out from under an engine panel. Her face was covered in sweat and grease. Not good, brother. The quantum drive is badly damaged. I can keep it running for maybe 6 more hours. After that, we will be dead in space. A new voice spoke from the doorway. Maybe that would be better than what this thing has planned for us. Everyone turned to look at the man standing there. He was older than the rest of them, with gray hair and scars on his hands. This was Dong Hyun Nam, their security officer. He had been sleeping in his quarters when the chase began. "Where have you been?" Tae-ho demanded. "Getting ready to fight," Dong Hyun replied. He was carrying a plasma rifle and wearing body armor. "Though I suspect our weapons will not help much against that monster." Hee-jin Choi looked up from her scanner. "You are right, the creature can phase through solid matter. Bullets and energy blasts will pass right through it." Dong Hyun's face went pale. "Phase shifting? Are you sure?" "I saw it myself. The creature reached through our hull without breaking it. How do you fight something like that?" Dong Hyun sat down heavily in a chair. "You do not fight it. You pray it loses interest and goes away." "What do you mean?" Tae-ho asked. The older man was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. "This is not the first time I have seen that creature. 15 years ago, I was security chief on a merchant vessel called the Blue Moon. We were carrying medical supplies through this same nebula." "What happened?" Sora asked. "The same thing that is happening now. That tiger thing hunted us for days. It destroyed our engines and left us floating helpless. My crew went crazy with fear. 3 men killed themselves rather than wait for that monster to finish us off." "But you survived," Jinwoo pointed out. "Barely. On the 4th day, the creature just lost interest. It stopped circling our ship and disappeared into the nebula. We never knew why." "How did you get out?" Hye-jin asked. "A rescue ship found us a week later. Half my crew was dead from fear and despair. The other half was insane. I was the only one who could still function." Tae-ho felt a chill run down his spine. "Why did you not tell us about this before?" "Would it have changed anything? You still would have taken this route. The pay was too good to pass up." Dong Hyun looked at the main screen where the alien tiger waited patiently outside. "Besides, I hoped I would never see that thing again." An alarm suddenly blared through the ship. The lights flickered and went out for a few seconds before the emergency power kicked in. "What was that?" Tae-ho shouted. Sora ran to check the engine readings. "The quantum drive just lost another 20% power. Something is draining our energy faster than before." On the main screen, they could see the alien tiger moving closer to their ship. Its crystalline fur was glowing brighter than ever. The creature was actively feeding on their ship's power now. "It is getting hungry," Hye-jin said. "Our fear is not enough anymore. It wants more energy." "How long do we have?" Tae-ho asked. "At this rate, maybe 3 hours before complete power failure," Sora replied. The crew looked at each other in despair. They had tried everything. Their weapons were useless. Their engines were too damaged to escape. Communications were blocked. No one even knew they were missing. "We could try to ram it," Jinwoo suggested desperately. "With what?" Dong Hyun laughed bitterly. "Our ship would pass right through that thing like it was made of air." "What about the escape pods?" Sora asked. "The creature would just hunt us down one by one," Hye-jin said. "Escape pods are even slower than our main ship." Tae-ho felt the weight of command crushing down on him. His crew was looking to him for answers, but he had none. In 12 years of flying cargo ships, he had never faced a situation like this. The alien tiger began to circle their ship again. This time it moved differently. It was no longer just stalking them. It was preparing for something. "It is getting ready to feed," Hye-jin said, watching the creature's behavior. "I think it has decided we are scared enough." "What does that mean?" Jinwoo asked. "It means this is probably our last hour alive." The creature suddenly accelerated toward their ship. Instead of phasing through the hull, it struck them with its massive claws. The Morning Star shook like a toy in a child's hands. Metal screamed as the hull bent under the impact. "Hull breach in Section 7, Sora reported. "Emergency doors are holding, but barely." The alien tiger pulled back and struck again. This time it targeted their communications array. The equipment exploded in a shower of sparks and metal fragments. It does not want us calling for help, Dong-hyun observed. As if anyone could hear us in this nebula anyway, Jinwoo muttered. The creature hit them a third time, targeting their weapon systems. Not that their weapons would have been useful, but the alien tiger was taking no chances. It wanted them completely helpless. Why is it doing this? Sora asked. I thought it wanted to keep us alive. It does, Heejin replied. But it wants us to know we are completely at its mercy. Maximum fear produces maximum energy. The alien tiger settled into a position directly in front of their ship. Its gem-like eyes stared at them through the bridge windows. Even through the vacuum of space, they could feel its alien intelligence studying them. It is savoring this moment, Hyejin whispered, like a cat playing with a mouse before the final kill. The creature opened its mouth and roared. The sound somehow reached them through the ship's hull, a noise that was part animal and part something else entirely, something that spoke of vast intelligence and endless hunger. This is it, Dong-hyun said quietly. It is time. The alien tiger began to move toward them for the final attack, its claws extended, ready to tear through their ship's hull and reach the terrified crew inside. But something was wrong. Taeho could see confusion in the creature's glowing eyes. It had stopped moving forward. What is it waiting for? Sora asked. The alien tiger tilted its massive head, as if listening to something only it could hear. Then, without warning, it turned away from their ship and disappeared into the red clouds of the nebula. Where did it go? Jinwoo gasped. I do not know, Heejin replied, staring at her scanner in confusion. It just left. For several minutes, the crew of the Morning Star sat in stunned silence. The alien tiger had been ready to finish them off. They had been seconds away from death. Then suddenly the creature had simply lost interest and vanished. Maybe it heard something, Dong-hyun suggested. Another ship to hunt. Or maybe it got full, Sora said hopefully. Maybe it absorbed enough energy from our engines. But Hyejin was shaking her head. No, that is not it. Something else made it leave. Something unexpected. Deep in the red clouds of the nebula, the alien tiger waited and watched. It had hunted thousands of ships over the centuries. It knew the patterns of fear and desperation that all species followed when faced with death. But something about these humans was different. Something it had never encountered before. The creature would wait and see what happened next. 2 hours passed in the heart of the Crimson Nebula. The Morning Star drifted like a ghost ship through the red clouds. Captain Taeho Kim and his crew waited for the alien tiger to return, but it remained hidden somewhere in the cosmic mist. Maybe it really is gone, Jinwoo Lee said hopefully. Do not count on it, Dong-hyun Nam replied. He kept his plasma rifle ready, even though they all knew it would be useless. That thing is patient. It can wait for days if it wants to. So Rai. Park crawled out from under another engine panel. Her clothes were soaked with sweat. Brother, I have bad news. The quantum drive is failing faster than I thought. We have maybe 1 hour of power left. Taeho felt his heart sink. Even if the alien tiger did not come back, they would die anyway when their life support systems shut down. Can you fix it? He asked. Not with the tools we have. The damage is too severe. I would need parts from a full repair station. Hyejin Choi looked up from her scanner. I am still detecting the creature out there. It has not left the area. It is just watching us from a distance. What is it waiting for? Jinwoo asked. I think it wants to see what we do when we realize we are going to die anyway, Hyejin replied. Maximum despair means maximum energy, output. The bridge fell silent. They all understood the hopelessness of their situation. Their engines were dying. Their communications were destroyed. No one knew where they were. Even if the alien tiger decided to leave them alone, they would be dead within the hour. Well, Taeho said finally, at least we will die as a crew. We face this thing together. Some comfort, Dong-hyun muttered. Sora sat down in a chair and wiped the grease from her hands. You know what the funny thing is? I always thought I would die in some dramatic way. Maybe in a big explosion or a heroic battle. Instead, I am Going to die because I could not fix an engine. We all did our best, Jinwoo said quietly. Our best was not good enough, Sora replied with a bitter laugh. Taeho looked at his sister. Even facing death, she was trying to make jokes. That was so typical of Sora. She had always been able to find humor in the worst situations. Remember when we were kids? Taeho said suddenly. You tried to fix our neighbor's hover car and ended up making it fly backward? Sora smiled despite everything. Mrs. Chen was so angry. She chased us around the block screaming about her poor car. You told her it was an improvement. You said now she could see where she had been instead of where she was going. And you said it would help her avoid making the same mistakes twice, Sora added. Both siblings started to chuckle at the memory. Even Jinwoo cracked a smile. That was not funny at the time, Sora said, still grinning. But looking back, it was pretty ridiculous. Mrs. Chen never did learn to drive that car backward, Taeho replied. She sold it to the junkyard instead. Poor car, it just wanted to be different. The absurdity of the situation suddenly struck Taeho. Here they were, about to die in the middle of space, being hunted by an alien monster. And they were talking about a broken hover car from their childhood. You know what is really funny? Taeho said. We came all this way to deliver medical supplies to sick miners. We were trying to help people, and now we are going to die because some space tiger thinks we taste good. We do not even know if we taste good, Sora pointed out. Maybe we taste terrible and it will spit us out. Great. Death by alien indigestion. Sora burst out laughing. It started as a small giggle but quickly grew into full, helpless laughter. She laughed so hard that tears ran down her cheeks. What is so funny? Jinwoo asked. But he was starting to smile too. Everything, Sora gasped between laughs. This whole situation is completely insane. We are having a casual conversation about being eaten by a space monster. How is that not hilarious? Her laughter was infectious. Jinwoo started chuckling. Even Donghyun cracked a grin. Hyejin looked confused but found herself smiling anyway. We are all crazy, Taeho said, shaking his head. Crazy humans in a crazy universe. Sora agreed, still laughing. Suddenly, all the alarms on the ship started blaring at once. Emergency lights flashed red throughout the bridge. Everyone stopped laughing and looked at the main screen. The alien, Tiger, had returned, but something was different about its behavior. The creature was not moving toward their ship. Instead, it was floating motionless in space, staring at them with its glowing eyes. What is it doing? Jinwoo whispered. Hyejin checked her scanner. This is strange. The creature's energy patterns have changed completely. It was feeding on our quantum emissions before, but now it seems confused. Confused about what? Taeho asked. I'm not sure. But something interrupted its feeding process. The alien tiger began to circle their ship again, but slowly this time. It moved like an animal that had encountered something it did not understand. When did it come back? Donghyun asked. Right when Sora started laughing, Hyejin replied. She checked her instruments again. Wait a minute, I am detecting unusual quantum signatures. They started exactly when the laughter began. What kind of signatures? Taeho asked. I have never seen anything like them. Human emotions produce quantum patterns when they interact with ship systems. Fear creates one type of pattern. Anger creates another. But laughter produces something completely different. The alien tiger suddenly moved closer to their ship, but instead of attacking, it just observed them. Its massive head tilted to one side as if it was trying to understand something. It looks confused, Sora said, her laughter finally dying down. More than confused, Hyejin said, studying her readings. The quantum pattern from human laughter seems to be interfering with its feeding mechanism. It cannot process this type of energy. Are you saying our laughter is jamming its ability to eat us? Jinwoo asked. That is exactly what I am saying. This creature has probably fed on fear and desperation for thousands of years, but it has never encountered genuine joy in the face of death. The alien tiger backed away from their ship. For the first time since the hunt began, it looked uncertain. Its glowing eyes flickered as if it was trying to process new information. Try laughing again, Hyejin urged. I want to see what happens. What should I laugh about? Sora asked. Anything. The situation. Our luck. The fact that we might be the first people in history to confuse an alien monster to death. Sora started giggling again. The sound filled the bridge. Jinwoo joined in, then Tai-Ho. Even serious Dong-hyun began to chuckle. The effect on the alien tiger was immediate. The creature jerked backward as if it had been struck. Its crystalline fur stopped glowing. The predator that had been so confident and deadly suddenly looked lost. It works, Hyojin said in amazement. Human laughter creates quantum interference that disrupts its hunting instincts. So we laugh ourselves to safety? Jinwoo asked. Maybe, but we still have the problem of our dying engines. As if reminded of their situation, the lights on the bridge flickered. The quantum drive was still failing. They might have confused the alien tiger, but they were still going to die when their power ran out, unless they could figure out how to use their new discovery to their advantage. The alien tiger floated in space, no longer hunting, but not leaving either. It watched their ship with what almost looked like curiosity instead of hunger. For the first time in hours, Tai-Ho felt a spark of hope. The alien tiger floated motionless in the red clouds of the nebula. Its massive form no longer seemed threatening. Instead, it watched the morning star with what looked like curiosity. Captain Tai-Ho Kim could hardly believe that laughter had stopped a creature that had been hunting them for hours. So what do we do now? Jinwoo Lee asked. We confused it, but our engines are still dying. Hee-Jin Choi studied her scanner readings. The creature is not trying to feed anymore. The quantum interference from human laughter has completely disrupted its hunting behavior. But we still have less than 30 minutes of power left, Sora Park reminded them. She was back at the engine controls, trying to squeeze every last bit of energy from the failing quantum drive. Tai-Ho looked at the alien tiger on the main screen. The creature's glowing eyes were fixed on their ship, but there was no hunger in them now, only something that looked almost like wonder. Hee-Jin, you study alien life, Tai-Ho said. Is there any way we can communicate with that thing? I can. Try. Most intelligent species understand basic mathematical concepts. We could start there. Do it! Hyojin began working with the ship's computer. She programmed their navigation lights to flash in simple patterns. First, she flashed the lights once, then twice, then 3 times. The basic counting sequence that showed intelligence. The alien tiger watched the light show but did not respond. Try something else, Tai-Ho suggested. Hee-Jin programmed more complex patterns, mathematical sequences, prime numbers, the basic structure of atoms. Still no response from the creature. Maybe it does not understand light signals, Jinwoo said. Or maybe it just does not care, Dong-hyun Nam added. He still held his plasma rifle, though he knew it was useless. Wait, Sora said suddenly. What if we try using the quantum drive emissions? You said the creature feeds on quantum energy. Maybe it can understand quantum patterns better than light patterns. Ha-Jin looked excited. That might work. I can modulate the quantum output to create specific patterns. Be careful, Tai-Ho warned. We cannot afford to waste any power. I will use very small amounts, just enough to create a signal. Hyojin connected her scanner to the quantum drive controls. She began sending out tiny pulses of quantum energy in mathematical patterns. This time, the alien tiger responded immediately. Its crystalline fur began to glow in answering patterns. Simple at first, then more complex. It is working, Hee-Jin said breathlessly. The creature is responding to quantum mathematics. For the next few minutes, they exchanged basic mathematical concepts with the alien predator. The creature proved it understood numbers, geometry, and even basic physics. Now what? Jinwoo asked. We have proven we can both count. That does not solve our power problem. Let me try something else, Hee-Jin said. She began sending out the quantum signature of human laughter. Not the actual sound, but the energy pattern it created. The alien tiger's response was immediate and strong. Its entire body began to glow with shifting colors. The patterns were beautiful and complex, like a rainbow made of living light. What is it saying? Sora asked. I think it is trying to tell us something about the laughter pattern, but I cannot translate the meaning. The creature suddenly began to move, but instead of approaching their ship, it moved away toward the edge of the nebula. After a few hundred meters, it stopped and turned back toward them. It wants us to follow, Taeho realized. Follow it where? Donghyun asked suspiciously. Maybe toward the edge of the nebula, Jinwoo suggested. Maybe it is, showing us the way out. Why would it help us? Sora asked. A few minutes ago it was trying to eat us. Because we showed it something new, Heejin said. Something it had never experienced before. Human laughter in the face of death. Joy despite despair. That is uniquely human. The alien tiger moved. Further away, then stopped again. It was clearly waiting for them to follow. Our engines are almost dead, Sora reported. If we are going to move, it has to be now. Taeho made his decision. Follow it. We have nothing to lose. The Morning Star's dying engines pushed them forward through the red clouds. The alien tiger led them deeper into the nebula, but not toward the center. Instead, it guided them along a path that curved toward the outer edge. How does it know the way so well? Jinwoo wondered. It has been hunting in this nebula for a long time, Heejin replied. It probably knows every gas cloud and debris field. As they traveled, the alien tiger began to glow brighter, not with the hungry light of feeding, but with something else. Colors flowed across its crystalline fur like aurora lights on a distant planet. It is beautiful, Sora said softly. The creature seemed to hear her somehow. It turned its massive head toward their ship, and the light patterns grew even more complex. For a moment, the alien tiger looked less like a predator and more like a work of art made from starlight. I think it is trying to show us something about itself, Heejin said. These light patterns are not random. They look like memories or experiences. The colors shifted and changed, showing images in the quantum spectrum that only their scanners could detect. Heejin worked frantically to translate the patterns into something they could understand. I am getting fragments, she said. Images of other places, other times. This creature is very old. Maybe thousands of years old. What else can you see? Taeho asked. Loneliness. Endless loneliness. It has been alone for so long that it forgot what companionship felt like. The alien tiger's light show continued as they moved through the nebula. The images showed the creature's long history of hunting and feeding, but they also showed something else, a deep sadness that came from being the only one of its kind. It is the last of its species, Heejin said quietly. The last of its kind in the entire universe. They traveled in silence for several minutes, following the ancient predator through the cosmic maze. Finally, they began to see stars ahead. The edge of the nebula was approaching. Engines are at 5% power, Sora reported. We are cutting it very close. The alien tiger led them to a clear space at the nebula's edge. From here, they could see open space and distant stars. More importantly, they could send communications again. I am getting signals, Jinwoo said excitedly. There is a rescue ship 2 hours away. They have been looking for us. How did they know to look here? Taeho asked. Our flight plan. When we did not arrive at the mining station, they sent out search teams. The alien tiger stopped at the edge of the nebula. It turned toward their ship one last time. The light patterns on its fur were different now. Softer. Almost peaceful. It is saying goodbye, Heejin translated. The creature reached out with one massive paw. Instead of attacking, it gently touched their ship's hull. Where it touched, the metal began to change. A section of the alien tiger's crystalline fur broke away and bonded with their ship. What is it doing? Sora asked. I think it is giving us a gift, Heejin replied. A piece of itself. The crystalline fragment pulsed with stored starlight. Even as they watched, it began to power their failing systems. The quantum drive stabilized. Life support systems came back online. It saved us, Jinwoo said in amazement. The alien tiger backed away from their ship. Its ancient eyes looked at them one last time. In those glowing depths, Taeho saw intelligence and sadness. but also something new, something that looked like gratitude. Then the creature turned and disappeared back into the red clouds of the nebula. "Will we ever see it again?" Sora asked. "Maybe," Hyjin said, "but I think it will be different now. We showed it that not all species are the same. Some can find joy even in the darkest moments." The rescue ship arrived 2 hours later. As they were being towed to safety, Tae-ho looked back at the Crimson Nebula. Somewhere in those red clouds, an ancient predator was learning that the universe was larger and stranger than it had ever imagined. And perhaps, for the first time in thousands of years, it was not entirely alone. The crystalline fragment on their hull continued to pulse with gentle light, a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected connections can form between the most unlikely beings, even between humans and alien tigers hunting through